Yeah.
All right, I've got 6:30. Let's call this meeting to order. Hey, can you do a roll call vote roll call for us?
Travis Kramer.
Here.
Scott McCorney.
Here.
Gordon McGee.
Here.
Jason Weesey.
Here.
Paul Kraus.
Here. Open Meetings Act is posted on the wall. Does anyone have anything in the consent agenda that they would like to consider separately? If not, I'd say we need a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented. There's no further discussion. Let's vote on that motion.
Scott McCorney.
Aye.
Gordon McGee.
Aye.
Jason Weesey.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Item 5, approval of minutes from the April 18th, 2022 regular board meeting.
I'll motion to approve the minutes from the April 18th, 2022 regular board meeting minutes.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second for the approval of the minutes from the April 18th, 2022 regular board meeting as presented. If there's no further discussion, let's vote on that motion.
Gordon McGee.
Aye.
Jason Weesey.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Scott McCorney.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. Item A, discussion and possible approval of resolution 516-2022A. Social media policy that we have received through MAPPA, and I think she said today that Tim added something to it that he wanted to see. Is that-
Yeah, just like the last line, I
Yeah.
believe.
Well, you reviewed it, should be all right, huh?
Travis, I know you were pretty close to this one. I don't know if, looks pretty standard, but I don't know if you had any other.
Yeah, the discussion that we had about social media, I guess, with anybody else that I had was just more or less questions of what should be posted. And this looks pretty cookie cutter, just to represent the community in the right way when you do state something.
Looks pretty straightforward to me. I think be a good place to start. And if we see we need to make changes, we can always add to it later.
Agreed. Jason, thoughts?
Oh, looks good.
It's a resolution. We just need to vote for passage of it one time.
I make a motion to pass Village of Arlington Resolution 516-2022A, a resolution of the Village of Board of Trustees of the Village of Arlington, Nebraska, considering an amendment to the employee handbook of the Village of Arlington, Nebraska, in order to adopt a new policy regarding use of internet as set forth in Chapter 5.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second for the passage of resolution 516-2022A as presented. If there's any further discussion, not, let's vote on that motion.
Jason Weesey.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Scott McCorney.
Aye.
Gordon McGee.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. Discussion and approval of donation for historical markers. I've talked to a couple people since the last meeting. I don't know if anybody else has gotten input. The two people I talked to were pretty involved in the 150 year, or the three people, I guess, that I talked to were involved in the 150 year I'm getting numbers anywhere from 8 to 10 places. You could probably use any one of these. I said, I don't really need specific numbers right now or places, but so 8 to 10 would put us right in the middle of what they're talking about. What she had proposed for Arlington was 5 building signs, 2 pedestal signs, and 2 life-size characters. That puts us at nine places that we could put up these historical markers. The Washington County Museum Historical Society is going to try and put together a map in conjunction with these so people can see points of interest all throughout the county. So for me, I would be comfortable if we would pledge to the Washington County Historical Society that we would cover that remaining $35.50 that they'd showed us in our original project cost. And that would be a good place to start, I think. And if we get a lot of good feedback, it sounds like there's going to be money every year for this, and we could add to it and put up more.
The last community fund foundation meeting said they might be willing to donate money to it in lieu of us, of the village. So I don't know if that's something to keep in mind or not, but
Jason?
the community fund, Arlington Community Fund.
Okay.
And I know she had talked to the Blair Area Community Foundation. I don't know if she talked to that's through the Fremont Area Foundation, right?
Yep.
And I can't remember. She said she'd gotten some money from them too, but. Well, I would say we could probably make a motion to approve any remaining funds up to $35.50 that we can't get through the Arlington Community Foundation. If that's all right with you guys, I think
Are we interested in all 3 different item types?
the people I talked to were, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's the
Pedestal
Marshall
signs?
Brothers was one that they thought could be a good life size, there's pictures of them. There's plenty of historical figures in town. I'm sure we could find life size characters, and I don't think anything has to be set in stone right at first. We can adjust these in the next few months before they start ordering pedestal signs or building signs or characters.
Yeah, when we might have further kind of confirmation from the Arlington Foundation.
Our next meeting is July, I believe. They didn't decide on the dollar amount because they didn't know how many we were gonna get. So it's kind of the same situation that we're in, really, deciding on exactly how many we want to do.
Right.
That's page 5 in that packet. Or
One of the ones that- here.
Make a motion not to exceed 35.
I think that would be a good place to start. If we could get some other funds, then we just decrease that amount. And that way we can just say, here's as you propose, we'll be willing to do that. Start there, and maybe if we get a lot of good feedback, maybe we can add some more to it next year.
Since it wouldn't be in our current budget sales tax.
We could take it out of sales tax, I would
I
think.
was just curious. I should designate that on whoever makes the motion.
Yeah, we should. I suppose we'll go through the parks budget pretty quick with the auditorium renovation, so.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, I would make that designation out of sales tax.
I'll make a motion to approve the donation for the historical markers for the historical branding sign proposal. Not to exceed $35.50. Take that out of our sales tax funds.
Do we have a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the donation of up to $35.50 for historical markers from the Washington County Historical Museum,
Historical Association.
Historical Association. If there's no further discussion, let's vote on that motion.
Travis Kramer,
Aye.
Scott McCorney,
Aye.
Gordon McGee,
Aye.
Jason Weasey,
Aye.
Paul Kraus,
Aye. Unfinished business item C, I'm gonna table the housing authority because I don't know that is anybody here for that housing authority discussion? And Rick was possibly gonna come for that later, so. Let's move down to communications, A committee report. I know we've got a bunch of you here from that, so.
Yeah, I think, so I contacted both Cox and asked that we have a general discussion tonight about kind of the progress of the build out for each company and, general discussion around any issues that you may be encountering from a service perspective, customer complaint perspective, or anything like that.
Be ready to open their mics if they.
So I know Cox had requested to go earlier in the agenda because I think James has some other commitments that he needs to fulfill. So Jen Ray or James, if you would like to just give us, the general update and allow the community and the board to ask questions, we'd appreciate that.
Hello, good evening. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Great to see everyone. Thank you so much for allowing us to join you this evening. As you probably all recall, I'm Jen Ray Wong. I'm the head of government and regulatory affairs for Nebraska and Iowa for Cox Communications. It's great to see you. It's been a few months and you'll be happy to know, I think I went a full another 2 days before I had my twins after last time that I saw you all. So great.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Everybody's healthy and good. So all good things to report on this end. Thank you. I have James Seville with us this evening, who is our senior manager of construction and planning for the area, to talk a little bit about where we are in the progress. And then just want to let you know that we're here to answer any questions or hear any feedback or see if there's any follow-up that we have on that. So with that, I'm going to pass the mic over, and not literally, but turn it over to James. James, are you able to unmute?
I am able to unmute. Sorry, I'm in my truck and not there. I'm watching a baseball game, so that's what I'm doing tonight. So as far as progress on the build, we are fully built out. The only construction that'll happen is just drop construction. So that'll be from the pedestal to the home. When we do our installation, we'll lay a temporary drop and then go back and do restoration and that with the homeowner. So everything construction wise, mainline construction is complete. So we can service internet and cable to all the customers. There is some interconnecting agreements we're still waiting on for telephone. Once we have those, we'll be able to offer our full suite of services there in Arlington.
James, with respect to the phone service, are there any, limitations on power backup, battery backup, and how does that work with Cox?
Yeah, so we do have power supplies that allow us, there are giant batteries inside of those power supplies next to our cabinets that will run that service whenever commercial power is out. We also have the ability to run out portable generators to keep that service up as well.
So nothing for the homeowner to maintain, James?
What's that?
Nothing for the homeowner to maintain?
Absolutely nothing. The only thing that's incorrect. Actually, they'll need to keep they'll need power to their phones and stuff like that.
So if the power is out at the home?
Yeah, then their cordless phones and stuff wouldn't work because the power would be out.
Okay.
And that's just to Gordon, that's just to the actual phone itself. Of course, the battery would be charged, but because the bases would be out of power, then they wouldn't send out onto those handsets.
But if they have a corded phone, they're fine then, because you have the
Yeah, as
batteries.
long as we keep power up, then yeah, it'll work.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
What about, James, any additional, I know you addressed the drop lines and I believe most of that would be kind of hand spaded and buried. Is there any need for boring going forward for Cox?
The only boring we would do would be to businesses if they required any type of underground construction. But for residential, no, unless there's a new home development, then we would have some underground boring. But where we stand today, unless a business signs up and we need to bore to that business, there shouldn't be any underground construction.
I think, just because businesses would typically be downtown, if possible, it'd be great to have Cox, notify the village office if you're going to be doing any boring downtown so that we can be prepared for any, potential outcomes that may result from boring.
Absolutely. And my land use and compliance team would fill out every permit that needs to be filled if we need to do or filled out, or if we need to do any site walks, more than willing to do that. We do them in all the communities I serve now. So we would definitely take care of that.
James, one of my concerns has been in an alley, I have alley access to my garage. And a lot of people on my alley have that kind of access as well. There's been, it's been both companies. It hasn't just been Cox or ABB. There's been a lot of potholing, a lot of trenching across the alley here and there. And now that they've had to come set up two different residences on the opposite side of the alley, they've trenched through two different times. My concern is there a way that we can combine some of this and try and schedule things so that we're not tearing alleys up, every other week or twice a month or whatever.
We can definitely oh, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that's the gist of it is, could we do more scheduling?
Yeah, we certainly could. Now, being Captain Obvious here, we wouldn't be able to schedule with ABB. But for like ours, we could definitely get, hey, these 3 customers have signed up. Let's bury those. We could definitely do that. And we have highlighted in our, and this is a recent deal, we have highlighted that area that you're kind of talking about with the alleys and how we have some of the jump pads. And we're working with our drop berry team now to, what's the best way and the least impact to the customer to get those done. And I think your idea of scheduling them out in bunches is probably the best.
Kate, is there anything, do you have information to hand out to customers when they come ask questions for either company on who to call if they want to schedule a hookup or,
we don't have we don't have business cards or pamphlets
Okay.
readily available. That'd be something, I just have to look up the number to pass out.
okay, but we do have numbers.
Yeah.
Jen, would that be something that you'd be able to provide us with some brochures?
Jen's mic is closed.
Sorry, my mic was closed. Thank you. Yeah,
I
I would
was-
be happy to work with our marketing folks and see, and if there are any issues in the meantime, obviously James Seville or myself can make sure that we get those to the right people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we get a lot of questions at the office here. So if we had information to hand out, and obviously both companies are pretty busy. I've heard of a lot of people having trouble getting a hold of companies. So if you had your best 2 methods or, what kind of methods you would prefer us to have people get in touch.
Yeah, I think it depends. So if you could help give me a little clarification. So it probably depends on what it is that they're needing, right? So are we looking for marketing materials or, if they're having
So you
issues?
just say, what's the issue?
I think once they get signed up with you, they would probably have your number, but I think the biggest question we get is, how do I get them to hook them up?
So it's the kind of people who are coming into town Jen, that are moving in and they're just asking how to get utilities hooked up to their house.
Oh, great. Okay, perfect. Thank you. I appreciate that clarification. Yep, happy
Thank
to,
you.
I'll work with our team and get you all something. And again, in the meantime, if there are any, questions with any of the construction that's happening, or if there are any issues or anything like that, I'm more than happy. You all have my contact information. I'm more than happy to do air traffic control on those kind of issues. And I know James would be willing to help as well.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So maybe Jen, there's one other item, and Jeff Stats is in the room as well from the Arlington Youth Sports Foundation. We have the communications facilities license agreement that I believe Jeff is being requested that the village signs that agreement, because we are, the way I understand, guys, we own that property. So they need us to sign it, even though the Arlington Youth Sports Foundation will be paying for the service.
Okay.
I don't know if that requires a motion vote for us to sign that. It's basically allowing, Jen, as I understand the agreement, it's allowing Cox to install equipment at the ball fields that the village owns.
Okay.
So it's just permission. It's not
Okay.
signing up for an obligation. I'm going to make a motion for that, or just
Yeah, I think we'll have to make a motion for that, to sign a contract. Have you heard any more about this? I know Nikki and I talked about it briefly.
No,
For
we
last-
didn't have any other information about it.
okay.
All right.
We can do that after. All right, thank you, James. Go back to the ball game. Thank you, Jen. Appreciate it very much.
Yeah, if anything, Gordon, you mentioned that one resident that was having some issues. We did call him today and we're
Good.
getting all that taken care of. Just wanted to follow up with you on that one.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. That was one of the items on my list. So yeah, Trevor Ganussi, so he did text me and said that they were making progress. So hopefully we can get that completely resolved this week. Is that possible, James?
Yeah, we're looking for a this week resolution.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Again, I just want to say we really appreciate this opportunity and thank you for working with us. So everybody has my contact information. Again, happy to do traffic control. I'll follow up on the marketing materials. So if you need anything at all, just shoot me an email or give me a call. In the meantime, we're happy to help.
Great, thank you.
Hey, Jen.
Okay, thanks everyone. Have a great week.
All right, so.
All right, Jeremy and Tim, sorry, somebody's got to go first. Thanks for coming and being here in person. For you guys, I think it's a lot of the same stuff, just.
We're, main line is done. I think there's about 10 drops left to do,
Mhm.
and then there'll be a drop to every building in Arlington.
Okay,
We're cutting people over like rate.
yeah,
Leaving door tags. We have some guys walking the streets, knocking on doors. To schedule cutovers and everything else. So
one particular concern I've been hearing a lot is being able to get in contact with someone.
and I wrote that down.
Is there a preferred way that you guys know of that we should tell people to get in touch? Is it the phone? Is it email?
We'll get that information
Okay,
and I took a few notes.
Yeah.
You guys were gonna ask for some of the same stuff. I
yeah,
took a few notes. We'll get a contact and some brochures like you asked for them.
I know a lot of people have been having billing questions for ABB, and I know you guys are obviously going through some kind of a change right now, right? And that would
Hopefully
explain a
that's
lot.
taken care of. I'm not sure on all
Yeah.
that, but hopefully that's taken care of.
Yeah. And normally that's the same number you would call for billing or installation, isn't it? Okay. So yeah, if any way you can help us streamline that, if people can get a more direct route to who they need to talk to, I think would be helpful right now.
Yeah, we'll have you guys something
So,
tomorrow.
yeah,
Actually, we have one gal that the door tags are gonna, I'm not sure if you've been in that, but the door tags are actually gonna have her direct number. So it's not the same number as the buildings that those people that are trying to get scheduled can get in easier and directly to her that can get things scheduled.
Okay.
So, sorry, Jerry.
No, that's fine.
No.
Yeah, it seems like your office response time has been rather unsatisfactory to everybody in town. Are they overwhelmed over there? Just too much coming in at once probably, huh?
There is a lot coming in at once.
Yeah.
We have now, there'll be 2 guys based here in Arlington at the office. Starting full-time soon.
Okay. No, go ahead.
I guess I have a question. When you do your boring and it tears up the alley in the yard, who's responsible to repair that?
We are. So we got all complaints.
I filed 3 cases on it last year, and I don't know who tore it up this time, but they did a lot bigger mud hole. Finally, I think they come out and poured a bag of sand in the hole, and that was it after most of the mud was gone. It was a small area, but like I said, I don't know who's responsible for tearing up the whole alley about 15 foot width, and it's a big mud hole.
We had to do this all over again. I would have said, you guys do this. I don't know how we could have done it better other than, I mean, when you guys are both going through, it's really hard to pinpoint who did what. I know.
You have an address, I'll definitely.
430 North Second.
Right behind the dog park, basically.
Construction is construction, so not everything goes perfect. Reality. I think that happens.
Yeah, I know it was broadband that time, but it was nothing compared to this time, so I don't know who for sure is responsible. It's down to 3 people, Cox Broadband or the gas company. And I talked to the locator people and they said, well, they can't tell me without a case number of who actually did it. And I pushed them a little harder, and apparently it's Nebraska law, because I know damn good and well they can tell me who pulled the permit to have it marked. But somebody is, well, some lawyers have gotten their feet in there, I suppose, over places getting blown up.
And I think places are getting located, I think the locates are sometimes more often than the work's actually getting done just to be safe.
Yeah, well, it happened. Whoever called it in, they called it in because it was located in less than a week and then it was tore up.
So why don't, Jeremy, you and I can coordinate, we can review, and I can work with James Seville from Cox and find out what the best path forward is to get that corrected.
No problem driving over here tomorrow, taking a look at it and figuring out what it.
I don't know who did it. It's 2-3 weeks ago now. I called it in to the office here about 2 weeks ago. And I haven't heard anything back. Because I've been literally tracking my car on the highway.
Yeah, a couple other questions. So Jeremy, on the drops that you mentioned, are those going to require any boring?
Boring or plowing, yeah.
You are planning for, okay.
We're total underground.
Well,
And that's,
I didn't know if it was a residential drop or something where it would just be spade, or we talking, so it's boring you're talking about.
We try not to spade. I know some of them got spaded. I would rather see them a little deeper with a plow or a bore machine, with all the sprinkler systems and everything around.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah, we will be. And there was a dozen on my list. That'll need some construction,
And then we're done.
and then we're done. Right.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
I'd like to follow up on Scott's question. Were you talking response time for text to get to trouble tickets, or were you
No,
talking
just-
to get into our office on a phone call?
That's what I was talking about.
Right there, okay.
Yeah.
it seems like that's been the more prevalent one that I've been hearing about too.
People have been on hold, they get kicked off.
Yeah, so
Or even people,
you brought up billing earlier, and finally, we're getting high-speed internet in town, and we're trying to work through that issue. And all 3 ABB locations in all different states are working towards a common billing system and record-keeping system. And so why not just shoot yourself in the foot when you're finally getting something accomplished and making people happy? You install a new billing system and have it absolutely bomb for like 3 months solid. I can tell you that normally they average in that group 300 calls a month. That's what they were staffed for. Trying to hire more, can't get people, like everywhere else, can't get people to want to work. And I had this ability to see how many calls were actually coming in. And they were actually receiving over 3,500 calls a day and over 2,500 calls were being rejected as busy. Calls that we're getting in because we were so understaffed were overflowing to an attendant and found out they were being disconnected after, I think it was an hour. Worked with the vendor out of Omaha to get that taken care of. We were told it was taken care of. And then I got an upset phone call from somebody else and I called up and I said, hey, this is still happening. And they said, it can't be. I said, this is what I'm being told. So they found, oh, yep, we screwed up. It's taken care of now. So, stuff happens. We don't want it to, but that's reality. That's what's going on. I guess since I brought it up, I'm going to talk about being responsive to trouble tickets and that kind of thing. Again, we're trying to hire people. It's tough in every industry. And so we're trying, while this construction was going on, obviously a lot of cut cables. When you have a cut cable, especially a big one, everybody that's actually trying to do installs or other trouble tickets gets pulled off to fix a big cable. That was going on not only with this construction, but we'll go back to Ellsworth Construction, the company that did all the paving. I swear it was every Friday night at 4 o'clock, we had another cut cable that, okay, here we go again. Jeremy's group was the one taking care of it, so we can probably speak to that better. But anyway, not here to try to make excuses, but I'm just trying to tell you the reality of what's been going on. So we're hoping once we get this fiber all in, that a lot of those trouble tickets go away.
So people cut over to the fiber.
Get cut off, yes.
That copper and stuff will become obsolete.
Yeah.
Not a problem.
We're afraid people aren't really understanding what we're doing. That copper now is very old. A lot of splices in it for the last couple of years, and it needs to go away. And so we need to get people cut over to fiber. So some people absolutely don't want it. But at
a certain point, that's gonna go away. That's your crew that was walking the streets. They explained that to me the other night. So they're coming over tomorrow night, but so what they're actually gonna do at that visit, just to make it clear, is what? It's already hooked to my house. They come inside and they do whatever they need to do in there then.
yes.
Your router and everything in.
Yeah, so
That's
that's,
to bring fiber actually into the house into what's called an ONT. That's going to provide your dial tone if you have that yet, or internet. And, TV, these new boxes do not yet, they don't make this new stuff with the RF TV that we have. So we're working on a streaming TV to eliminate that, but that's going to be over time. I'd like to also talk about the power that Cox also talked about. Everything that we have is fed, the fiber optic goes into our office here in Arlington. It's got batteries and generator backup. I don't know that they touched on exactly what I know. There was a customer here in Arlington that had with us, and that was we didn't have the battery backup at the time. We do now. We after some screaming at vendors, it's a supply chain issue trying to get stuff, and in this battery issue, it was me wanting to get the right type of battery, because the batteries that the manufacturer is trying to sell and about 6 other vendors that I talked to, the batteries are about this big, to power a unit this big. And I knew there was something else out there. Finally, we got it. The lady that had the problem has that in her house now. So if Arlington loses power, even if she has a regular phone, like the Cox said, if it's a cordless phone, they're gonna have to have power of that too. But our ONT is gonna be up so that she'll have dial tone capabilities. I'm not sure they answered that.
So ABB service, you do need a battery on site within each residence, right? That's what you're driving to.
Yes, it plugs into that ONT plugs into AC. And so if there's a power outage, there needs to be a battery backup. Right. I'd like to have you verify with Cox what theirs is, because theirs has to work that way too.
Jen, you're still on. I don't know if you can answer that question for us. Maybe she's not on any longer. I'll follow them, Tim.
Okay.
I can ask, I can find out.
I just want to make sure we're talking apples and apples.
Yeah.
We're waiting for, we've ordered thousands of those batteries, the size that I finally found. We've got thousands of the other ones in stock, and the cables it was almost impossible to find. Now we have those too. So people that had dial tone that we were installing, we did not cut the dial tone over. So we're going to go back to all of those. I think there was 15 or 16 that did. And so, but anybody now, if they want a battery, we're going to go back and cut them over.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
I hope I covered everything that you had asked. So,
And these are a lot smaller.
oh, they're, yeah.
Compact.
And they're 8 hours is what they're rated at.
So yeah, I guess the same thing for Kate, for you guys, get them some numbers. And if you've got numbers you want to call for troubleshooting or marketing or whatever, if you guys don't have a flyer, at least get her something she can write down and maybe we can hand out. We can just add that to, we've got a kit that we give out and we can put those numbers on that or something. So I think that'll be the biggest thing.
Like I said, there'll be 2 guys over here full time over at our office, so I'm sure they'll get door knocks and everything else.
Once the word gets out, yeah. They're gonna be sorry you told them.
Dan quit.
Yeah, yeah.
No, okay,
I like these guys. They seem to be go-getters and so.
good. Well, thanks for coming, guys. I appreciate it. Does anybody else have any other questions?
Not for ADD, no.
And Gordon, you have my number.
Yeah. I'll give you a call in the alley and then also on Eric Nicola's installation and the pavers. Okay. There was one other item, Trav, for that communications committee. I just emailed the board the agreement from Cox for the ball fields.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm allowed to make a motion on that because it was not on the agenda, but
Well, the contract's in there, but yes,
Is it
we don't
in?
have it on the agenda.
okay, but it is in the packet.
Do we have to have that done this month? Scott? Jeff, I'm sorry.
Internet down there.
Okay, so it's a, yeah.
Since it was in the packet.
Well, it was in the packet. I would suppose we can approve it.
Okay, make a motion.
Wouldn't you think so, Travis?
I'm trying to think of another application like the library. If the library board approves something, do we reapprove it?
I think it falls under 7AB, update from Cox.
There you go. Okay.
I think we're okay.
Okay. So then I'd like to make a motion that the village execute the proposed communications facilities license agreement with Cox Communications for support of the Arlington Youth Sports Complex.
Second that.
We have a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion,
And it was approved by the AYS board?
Yes. Yep.
there's no further discussion. Let's vote on that motion.
Jason Lacy,
Aye.
Travis Kramer,
Aye.
Scott McCorney,
Aye.
Gordon McGee,
Aye.
Paul Kraus,
Aye. All right. When do we have? Okay. 7 via streets, okay. Item B, Streets Committee. We don't have anything new other than some bids on the 12th Street project. That we've got Hubble and Mackey. Those are the 2 bids we've got, right?
And then update on that Boyd Jones by the school. It looked fine after they cleaned it up or,
We're still waiting on them to come back. They haven't
Okay.
come back yet.
Okay.
He said they were gonna try and,
because I know they put the
I
grass.
really haven't gone over there and looked at it.
Because when I drove by there tonight,
Yeah.
it looked.
Thanks for coming, guys.
It doesn't look good.
It don't look any worse than the rest of the road.
We'll take a look at it with
Okay.
Mark and
Perfect.
I'm gonna stay for the rest of the year. But it's pretty easy to see when you drive down.
It'd be right behind the dog park, right?
Yeah. Elm Street Valley, first and second north.
I'll go look at it.
All right,
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you,
Thank
Jeremy.
you.
Thank you.
All right, what, I'm sorry, what, did I miss anything?
I was talking about the boy gym.
Okay, all right,
He hasn't got nothing yet, so.
okay. So we've got two bids. One bid for 7786, one bid for 4100. Do you have a good feeling that they're both bidding the same thing, John? And do you have any concerns with the low bid or?
Give me a description of what this is.
So what we're trying to do is we're trying to remove this project that's been on our streets plan for a while. We've had a extremely large bid to do 12th and.
Okay.
12th and Bell, right?
I think it was.
We're trying to do just a small
Oh, it was a big
revamp
project.
instead of the grand plan that the engineers would like to see us do. So we're taking a chance here, but we're hoping that for about 5% of the cost, we can make this a better intersection. And this is approved by both of the closest property owners.
Yep.
So
I think it's worth the chance, so.
I think so. Why wouldn't we try and spend $4,000 or $7,000 instead of, I think it was 100 and something.
I think it was like 150 or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was out.
So what's different with this? That's.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the street where it goes like this.
Yep.
And we're gonna cut out a section and try and make a gradual slope in there without tearing out 6 feet of driveway and sidewalk and redoing.
Remove that hard dip there, I guess,
Right.
goes this way.
We're just trying to
Gotcha.
pour an actual,
Boy, that's a fraction of the moon.
yeah,
Well, with engineers, they wanted to, completely redo that.
Right. Yeah.
and it's gonna make people's driveways slope the wrong way. It's
It
gonna slope
extends,
up.
it extends the street out differently. It's,
Mhm.
yeah. So this was something that, it's been what, 5 months ago? We probably went up there.
I
tried.
just went up with a couple months ago.
Yeah, but the three of us, and then we met with the residents in that area.
The two property owners.
Nice. Good.
I'd say if John has no qualms about either bidder, I'd say if you took a motion for the low bid, I'd be happy.
Make a motion to accept the bid for the 12th and Bell Street project from Hubble Equipment Rental, or not, yeah. What it's called?
Yeah, it's.
Yeah, $4,100, not to exceed $4,100.
We'll second that.
There's no further discussion. Let's vote on that motion.
Gordon McGee,
Aye.
Jason Weasey,
Aye.
Travis Kramer,
Hi.
Scott McCorney,
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
All right. All right. Item C, water sewer. James, what do you have for us? People services report.
I just got a couple updates. I talked to Carrie at Iowa Pump. They ordered our parts for that pump on April 18th. With a 6 to 8 week lead time, so he's thinking middle of June, we should get that pump back. And then we'll be back to running on both pumps. Johnson Services, on the pre-lining, on the lining, they're gonna come in either next week or in 2 weeks. And they're doing what's called a pre-lining televise. They're gonna re-televise it just to get an idea. They gotta get good measurements and order what they need to line that sewer main. He's looking at probably July, once they get everything ordered, to actually get the project finished. And then the manhole rehab, we are on their schedule. I didn't write down where they're at now, but they've got Syracuse, then Nebraska City, then us, so.
So hopefully we're within 3 or 4 weeks. They're usually not here for a week when they do ours, are they?
I think they were only here for 2 days the last time. Now, these are gonna be, they're grouting these because they're bricks, so it'll be a little bit more
Mhm.
labor. So it might take a little bit longer.
And I think I've asked this before, but I can't remember where the sewer lining is gonna start and stop. The start is gonna be west of the trailer,
Mhm.
the parking yard.
And
And
then east.
to the
Yeah,
east
there's
is
a
gonna,
manhole on both sides of that fence.
and we're not gonna have any access issues with the property owners and where the manholes are at, but we need to make sure they move stuff.
We
I
should,
mean, I don't want these guys coming in and something slowing this process down at all.
no, it's something that they should be able to do from manhole to manhole.
Okay,
We should not have to get on that property at all.
okay. Perfect.
I'll know more in a couple weeks when they're here. And if we do need to get in that property, I will make sure that we have
Mhm.
access to that when we need it.
Is the other manhole east of the old Dairy King, or is it down lower?
It's down lower down by the fence,
Okay,
kind of down by where
the two trailers are at. Okay,
it's
well,
actually just west of the two trailers.
okay,
Pulled up.
yeah, okay.
That side of the fence, both sides.
So yeah, what he was talking about having to build a ramp to get those trailers out. So we may have to get in touch with him and just make sure that whatever he's gonna build a ramp with, I would assume he'd haul some dirt in there. Make sure that he knows we need that access to that manhole. So
For our conversion to that.
I can call him
Yeah, yeah.
and talk to him about that. And I can give him your number and make sure he coordinates with you. So,
Yeah, that'd be great.
okay. All right,
That's all I got. We're still working on the fairgrounds,
yeah,
getting numbers for that.
that's gonna take a while. We're just starting to look at numbers, look at it, so, yeah,
Need about 3 months and then I guess the better idea.
yeah. And this is probably a good time of year for checking their usage. It's gonna be,
Yeah, I would imagine.
March,
Weddings and
March 21st.
all right. Anybody have anything else for James?
I do have one more thing. I did talk to Carrie, about getting a service agreement, like an annual service agreement about, the pumps down at the lift station.
Mhm.
Just to change the oil in those pumps need actually oil. So Wayne never had me do it. All he had to do was just check the oil, make sure it wasn't milky. So I'm gonna try to get a service agreement to actually have them out here, look at them once a year, make
And that
sure.
would be something they could do in a day and we wouldn't, and maybe that would prevent some of these pump failures.
Let's hope, yeah, I think.
So when we have pump failures, is it usually it's an electric motor or it's a gasoline powered pump or
No,
something?
they're electric.
Okay,
Try the same.
so what fails in them usually? Is it the pump portion or is it something that we can service?
Well, this last time something got inside the pump and shoot it up, so,
Okay,
ruined the bearings.
yeah,
Once the bearings get ruined inside that pump, it starts tumbling and it just.
and the bearings are what's lubricated by the oil that we can change when we take them out.
Right.
Okay,
But he's saying something hard got inside there, so it shoot it up.
okay,
Which, I mean, we do have I forget the word for it, but there is something down there that chews things up when it comes through.
yeah.
But when we have high levels, I mean, that level gets up out over that ditch, so sometimes stuff can get down in there that
Okay.
unfortunately. So.
Well, thanks for checking into that and let us know what you find out if that's something we can do to prevent, maybe these pumps are just killing us. When they're down, we don't have a choice and they seem to be very expensive every time we fix them, so.
Next one down.
You know, gonna ask you about water pump. It looks like, I don't know if it's just a less rainy year or what, but we're down in lift station flow a little bit from last year, so
Yeah,
that's good.
I was looking at those numbers too. It seems like we're pumping less water, which of course, if you have less water in the system, you're gonna have less water.
At the lift
Sewer.
flow,
But I think maybe some of the stuff that we have done has also helped.
yeah.
I mean, let's hope so.
Unfortunately, I think we're just gonna have to keep fixing stuff slowly and we're never gonna get that one thing that was like, hey, look at this, we just fixed,
Yeah, I think it's.
We're just gonna have to keep-
multitude of problems.
But it's a good sign that the lift station flow is lower than last year for 3 months in a row. So that means something's better, so. Travis, did you have anything else to add?
No,
We
just,
haven't met as a water sewer committee.
yeah, those are the projects we've talked about was the lining of that. And then again, the lift station, the gallons pumped and the gallons sent over are a lot closer, which is a great feeling. Great work.
All right. Nobody has anything else for James. I'd say, thank you for your time. Appreciate you coming.
See you, James. Thanks.
Item D, I haven't heard from Sheriff Robinson if he's gonna have anybody join us in person or by Zoom. I know Nikki had talked to me about wondering if we should set hours. I think that was that the result of your last committee meeting?
Yeah, Sheriff Robinson, we met on May 3rd and we kind of talked over some things concerning the vandalism with the walking path lights again. We just had them all redone. Some kids ruined a bunch of them again. Which costs lots of money, so just trying to, if anybody ever sees anybody messing with them, call 911 and let's get them over here and let's catch them. So, but yeah, that was part of our discussion. He mentioned maybe if we had park hours, some parks do that, but I don't know, that's tough too, in my opinion, because people are walking on the walking paths at all night, times of the
I
night.
mean, that's kind of why we put lights up there so people could walk in the dark.
And use the park at all times.
Yeah.
Vandals probably aren't gonna care what time the park closes anyway.
You think they won't follow the rules?
Yeah, it's a guess, but I'm pretty confident.
So we had talked about having a reward that leads to someone's arrest of $200. So I don't know if we need to approve that, I guess, probably, or we had talked about maybe doing that as sales tax, since that's where those lights come out of.
Yeah.
Which I was hoping we were gonna get the sign up at the school before school was let out, but I think we're waiting for a phone number to post on the sign or something.
Yeah, we had talked about like if people could like give tips anonymously, that we'd probably have more luck. And so we reached out to Sheriff Robinson, like, how do we go about that? And also what's a good phone number for people to call? Because they shouldn't call us, you know? And we're still waiting to hear back about that. So that's where we're at with the reward.
Reward would be a great idea.
Well, we figured since each light pole's whatever, 800, what is it, $800,000? What is it? Whatever, we're figured, percentage of that. Yeah. Well, they catch whoever did it to get them to, Yep.
Oh, just, I can give you some side notes of our meeting, I guess, if you guys want. Yeah, we talked about possibly putting up some video cameras, maybe something additional down there and monitoring the park or the walking path there and see if we can catch someone. What else we talk about? Oh, there's some complaints, parking downtown here. We might entertain the idea of painting lines on the street, get people parking at a nice angle. Maybe that, if you come in straight in on the curb, it kind of takes up space on the street, so we might look into that in the future here. Maybe in some crosswalks downtown, John mentioned. Other than that, if we move forward with the farmer's market on Saturday, they'll have police patrol here monitoring that a little bit. Else. We'll be probably having them throw out some nuisance properties, some letters and notifications here coming up. We'll start hitting those a little more probably. And we also talked about, the flow of, if they're like our trailer ordinance on the street, if there is a ticket, how that all plays out with should go through the city prosecutor versus, we'll have to discuss that and make sure we get our story straight on that yet, I guess. That's about it.
This guy talking about the overall process of if somebody's
Streamlining it
cited.
to get someone a ticket.
I don't think everybody knew what the next step was, and I think for a couple of citations, they'd never made it to court.
Oh,
So,
got it.
At least one I heard of, might have been another one. Well, do we need a motion if we don't have a number yet, for a reward? Do we, how?
Oh,
I would say we could make it pending the receipt of a phone number to use.
yeah, I suppose we probably should. It's all right.
Pending information on an anonymous line from the sheriff. We could approve $200 reward. You
Is
think
that
it's
too
enough?
much, too little for you guys? What do you guys, I mean, we're just,
Well, they can't be anonymous if we're gonna pay a reward.
correct. That's a part of it, yeah.
Yeah, how do we?
It has to lead to the conviction of someone.
Give the money in an envelope somewhere and just.
Don't we need to, do you know if we've consulted with Tim on any of this?
I don't believe so.
Before we make a motion, then let's consult with Tim and see how we have to do that anonymously, because I'm sure we could fund an account that's,
Well, I think you're not anonymous if you want the money, right? Well, that's how
Washington County have a Crime Stoppers.
I don't know if they do or not.
I mean, that's kind of what I would. The sheriff didn't.
Well, let's have some more discussions with Sheriff Robinson and our lawyer on how we would go about this and whether or not you can be an anonymous Crime Stopper. Did you guys have anything else anybody have anything else for Sheriff Robinson? If not, we'll move on to item E, Parks Committee Report, Travis and Gordon. I see they're going like gangbusters on the
Yeah,
auditorium improvements.
that was the only item I had for this report. And John,
I think we meet tomorrow. Is that correct? I do believe we're meeting with Shimmer tomorrow. In the building. I do believe it was tomorrow.
got a meeting.
I'm almost positive that GFK said that. I'll check into it a little bit more in the morning. I'm sure.
I'll look through my notes too. But so far, the demolition.
So far, it's looking good. They got everything demo. They've cut in some of the plumbing. I think they were gonna try and finish that up. They didn't wanna cut into the one utility room till today because they had to move stuff out and there was some events in there this weekend. But other than that, moving along pretty good. We're gonna probably start filling the pool tomorrow. Tyler I didn't talk to him today. If he started today, I doubt he did. So we'll start filling that out. And then we get met about, it's not on the agenda, so we don't have to talk about that shelter.
You're right. Yes.
I guess it's not on the agenda. So we
Right.
can hold off on that till next month. You talk more with Tom about that.
No, and I will after this meeting. John, question about the pool. There's something said about it was peeling in a couple spots during cleaning. Awesome.
He thought, the painter thought that maybe there might have been some humidity underneath the paint in one area, because it looked like, he said, looked like there might have been, it's kind of where it slopes, so he thought maybe humidity got there and water ran. Looked all over the rest of the bullets, I don't see.
And that's a 1-year warranty on it, or?
I have no idea. I think they came and repaired it, so.
Yeah.
We won't get a bill for that.
Library report. Does anybody have any questions on that?
Looks like they welcomed Megan onto the board. And they had a nice donation. Becker Trenching gave 1,500. So really nice gift.
Speaking of parks, I heard we had some volunteer labor down at the ball fields for what do we have? Paul?
Yeah, big shout out to OPPD and Jake Lang and his crew. They came down and repaired the lights that were damaged in some time, whether it be when they were putting the fencing around the dugouts a couple years ago. So yeah, you see Jake Lang.
Yeah.
That volunteered some time to do that.
All right. See anything else in their report that was, looked like it needed discussion? Anything else for the Parks Committees? Ooh, we've got to item D, item C. Discussion and possible approval of partnering with Roots to Wings to improve and maintain planter beds in village parks. I talked to Nikki today. We have planter beds here. We have some in front of the community room, some at Veterans Park. Was there anything at the ball fields, John, that you knew they were talking about?
No, just those 3 locations and then by I don't know if we ever talked to them about the welcome sign around that.
Okay.
We can kind of work with them. We don't expect them to do everything, kind of whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
Would help us.
And that's what Trish said. She said that, I mean, she's open to any projects really.
Yep.
I mean, whatever we'd like, and she wants to work with us.
So no additional funding outside of our normal budget for those areas, just coordinate with.
If they need some material.
I think they were requesting a
Yeah, there's an
$100 donation.
email that was printed for you guys from her.
I think the way we would handle that would be instead of a donation, we could allow them to spend up to $500 without board approval.
Yeah, probably should get more.
We
of
should
a
get
quote
invoices and credit them with invoices instead of.
versus an exchange of donation for services probably is not the right thing to do.
Or at least get a bid from them first and release those funds if they needed to buy the product. I wouldn't have a problem with that, but do you think we would need a motion to allow them to spend up to?
Yes, but without knowing, we're not identifying how many places and projects, we probably should have an outline of, we'll take care of this for this much, like a quote. I mean, really should have that versus.
So have them bring a quote for approval before we make anything.
I think that's the right way to handle it.
I'm okay with that. We don't need to go ahead.
Is the dog park under your jurisdiction, the maintenance of that, or who's?
John, are we mowing that or they mowing that? We're mowing it. Yeah,
Well, the doggy dumpster seems to spend all its time on its back with the lid open, the smell of the flies. And you've got, I don't know who's paying for the trash service, but now we have a trash truck running up and down the alley that isn't designed for any load. There's no base under it. So it's full of mud holes along with the mud holes that got created at the top. So there's no good way in and out of there. I guess I'd like to see it move to the east side between where they could still get to it with their truck, but some more people would use it. And then if it does get knocked over or something built, some kind of a low containment so it can't blow over. It spends almost all its time on its back with the lid open. It's been blown over for a week. Four-wheelers are blasting up and down there all the time now since it's a park, I guess, just to see, but nobody stops and picks it up. And I don't know that too many people use it once it falls over, because I don't know if they don't want to pick it up or what. There's obviously stuff in it.
Okay.
But when it spends almost all its time on its side with the lid open, I'm not sure if it's getting used to its potential.
Okay. Well, we can look into some way of keeping that upright, and we can discuss other locations for it. Like, I won't make any promises that we'll move it, but if we need to maintain that alley better to make this work where it is, or if we can move it, we'll look at our other options.
Yeah.
So
There's no base in that end of the alley. I put a base from my property line up. And there's nothing in the bottom, so it's just mud holes when it rains. And The good thing this year is it hasn't rained a lot as far as the mud mess, but
No,
it's gonna be. Well, that's one of the reasons I put the base in before I built the garage, because we had kids running four-wheelers up through there when it'd be muddy, because it was a mud bog.
yeah,
I put a base in and that wasn't make fun anymore, so that stopped that.
okay.
Morty used to even put up a road close sign when it would steam. Because it was a good time, I guess, but
Well, we'll look at our options there and
Yeah.
we'll see if we can do something to make that situation better. So I did drive by and saw that thing on its back here one time in the last few days, so I know what you're talking about. We'll,
Or a pad for it or something, or what?
Would be nice to know, and you could have Kevin check for it while he was down there.
Right.
All right. Item D, discussion about the status of the Arlington Auditorium as a designated emergency shelter in the county local emergency operations plan. My understanding is, I don't know who the contact is right now, but I know we're listed it as a shelter. John, do you know if the contact is myself or you, or?
I'd have to check with Dan.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I would think either one of us
I
should
think
be a
the fire
contact.
department, maybe it's the fire department, maybe it's just Dan.
Well, I would say the village chairman should probably be on that list because he's going to be the one that's coordinating with Dan, our emergency coordinator. So as long as anybody doesn't have any reason, we should take the auditorium off of the list as a designated shelter. I think we can just continue with the way it is. So I'll talk to Dan to make sure if we need anything changed. Item F, cemetery committee report from Scott and Gordon
I think you need to vote on the designated,
on the shelter.
that you still want it to be a shelter and then
Okay,
the contact person.
all right. Well,
I'll make,
yeah, take a motion.
I'll make a
I would say the
motion.
Chairman,
I'll make a motion to have the Arlington Auditorium to continue to be a county local emergency operations shelter for 75 people and be able to feed 200 people. And in the event of an emergency, the contact person should be the board chairman and the village clerk.
Second.
we have a motion and a second to continue the auditorium as the identified local emergency shelter. If there's no further discussion, let's vote on that motion.
Scott McCorney,
Aye.
Gordon McGee.
Aye.
Jason Weasey.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. Item F, committee report from Scott and Gordon from the cemetery. Imagine that's why you're here too, Lonnie, all right?
All right, well, yeah, I'm glad you came, because we were searching for a couple answers, I guess. I think as far as the shipping container at the cemetery, what's your thoughts and plans on that?
Well, what we'd like to do is, once we put in lights up there, you have that copy that I gave Nikki.
Yeah, the Fremont Electric.
They, I kind of took a leave of being on the Veterans Board last year for a year or so. They kind of taught me getting back on. The name panels did come in, I guess, this week, and we got those mounted out there. What we're wanting to do now is trying to get the place lit up a little bit so we don't have any vandalism out there is our main intent. And I didn't know if the city had any COVID funds or anything that you guys could take into consideration to kind of shoot our way, so it help us. We're gonna do our fall golf fundraiser this fall again, and I think last year we made about 8,000 on that. And all those proceeds are going to the wall out there, so. That's about it. It's just, I won't take much of your time, just a proposal, see what you do, make it under consideration. if there is something you can do, you just want to let us know. That's all we're asking.
So we had talked with the board, Scott and I went over there a couple of times and mentioned that we have budget this year to support some of the improvements that the Vets Club was wanting to do out there. And I think previous conversations, we were thinking, well, either lighting or landscaping, and we just needed an invoice.
Basically, it's just bringing in the electrical up to the memorial and then a few light fixtures out there. I know they're a little high, I thought, but things aren't cheap anymore.
Right.
And,
And if we can get somebody else to kind of come in at a lower rate, this is just something that I think Steve Bremer got this February.
I assume we need competing bids for something like this that we
It
would.
would be nice to have competing bids. Obviously, this is a local guy. He's from Fremont, but he's a local guy.
Okay.
So I wouldn't have a problem with him, but or if you guys, if we have a budgeted amount and we wanted to commit that much to your project and you guys
Well,
find a bid that's better. And
when we met with you guys over at the Vets Club, we kind of talked about $5,000 is what we put in our budget for improvements out there. And that's what we were thinking, for your lighting project, because that's what we wanted to see.
Okay.
So we kind of have the 5,000 earmarked for that already.
Yeah, we just told them we needed an invoice in order to, approve the funding of it.
We'll be having our meeting here next week, so I just kind of let them know what you guys.
You,
And kind of get more of an input of what you have already told them. I guess I really haven't been involved that much into it.
should we have a vote on approving 5,000 towards the lighting?
Is that already in the budget?
It is in the budget, yeah.
In the budget, then we just do it and vote on it when we get the invoice.
I think so. Pay the invoice, yeah.
Have you heard anything about putting a shipping container to hold the flag cart?
No.
Okay, so I was hit up about this one night. Steve wanted to know what we would think about putting a shipping container out there to hold the flag cart, because apparently it's getting in, it's not in as great a shape as it used to be, and there's some
Yeah,
concern.
come to think of it, they did mention that. And behind my building, I have that box car or the trucking box back there. I told them that the Vet Club wanted, if they could have that,
Okay,
if you guys would approve having a space out there to put it.
and I don't know if you guys had had a chance to talk about this or heard much about it.
Yeah, Steve did mention that, come to think of it about that.
Good spot for it out there.
And I think it's what, a 16 foot by
And you could fit the cart inside of that thing,
just the body, the box body.
and this will hold the crosses that are gonna be new. There
There's
was,
everything in there,
Okay.
yeah.
okay.
And unless they change their mind on something else.
My concern would it be, is that what we want to look at the cemetery, a shipping container? I wanted to have some discussion on that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess whatever we get out there, we could probably paint it to make it look more landscape.
Yeah. John, can you think of a place out there that could hide easily that nobody would have a concern with what it looks like?
Trying to figure out a spot to put it that doesn't have a plot, plots in it.
Yeah, we've cut down all the big trees almost.
The area that the dirt pile is in, that they piled dirt in, but we try and keep that cleaned up now because we've got so many complaints over it. We'll have to just take a look sometime.
Just, take a look. It's, it's just another issue we were looking at
Yeah,
to make it handier when we put up the flag.
and I just didn't want to tell somebody, yeah, we can put a container out there without having the board have a little discussion on it, so.
But, just make it handier to have something out there where we don't have to bring that cart back and forth. But,
Where's the cart at now?
It's up there.
Up at the water tower?
yeah,
Okay,
and I don't know if it's imposing on you guys up there.
No, it's kind of, we just got it out. We had to take it out of the building because we ran out of room, but it's up there.
Okay, that's about all I Yeah, so I appreciate your guys' thoughts on it and
So yeah, I guess you could tell everybody we're $5,000 is what we budgeted, and we'd be glad to
I'll let them
contribute
know.
that to the lighting project.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it.
All right,
Thank you.
thanks for waiting till the end.
I haven't got anything else to do. Thanks.
I always feel bad about the people that have to wait till the end. So try and get
Don't worry
through this.
about it. All right, everybody have a good evening.
All right, thanks.
Take care.
Yeah. All right, so anything else on the cemetery that you guys had? All right,
Tom Volk ever get a hold of you where to, about his, they're gonna place that bench or something?
The bench should,
Yeah,
no, it's not.
I'm gonna have to ask him again someday on that.
all right, let's move on to administrative. Item G, Washington County Permit Report. I don't know if we just don't have anything highlighted as new or if they're all older ones.
Yeah, I don't think the highlights,
Oh, I can barely see them. Yeah, we've got a couple here. They look like all smaller projects.
So remodel.
Travis, you don't have anything you want to add to building permits or anything new on that front, do you?
I
Okay,
don't think so. no.
okay. I didn't know if you had discussions with anybody on anything.
No, not yet.
Okay. Okay, item B, discussion and possible approval of clerk attending municipal accounting and finance conference in Kearney, June 15th to the 17th at a cost of $499. There wasn't any scheduling issues with her, was there?
so the only thing was that, she would miss one of her leadership days, but she
Okay.
would be getting all of her continuing education credits for the year.
Okay, she just wanted to make sure we wouldn't be upset if she missed a day
Yeah,
for
yes.
leadership
Yeah,
to go to accounting and finance conference, and I kind of felt, she kind of felt like she would be okay missing a day and still.
and yeah, this I think was more beneficial.
Yeah. So I think it would be a good idea for us to approve this. I know we couldn't get it through last year. She was, I don't know if it was still COVID rules and they didn't have it last year, or if maybe she went to a Zoom conference.
Yeah,
But
I'll make a motion to allow the clerk to attend the municipal accounting and finance conference in Kearney, June 15th through the 17th at a cost of $499 plus hotel
and I would assume travel expenses.
and travel expenses. Yeah.
Second.
We have a motion and approval of clerk attending the municipal accounting finance conference in Kearney, June 15th, 17th through the 17th. At the cost of $499 plus hotel and travel. There's no further discussion. Let's put on that motion.
Travis Kramer,
Aye.
Scott McCorney,
Aye.
Gordon McGee,
Aye.
Jason Weasey,
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. Item C, Nikki didn't have any new information by the end of the day, did she?
They did send us, premiums, but it wasn't clear if it was annual or monthly, so we called, left a message, and they never returned it, so that's where that's at.
So we'll table that till next month, see if she can get some more information. So let's go back up to item C under unfinished business. Discussion and possible appointment of housing authority board members. I've been contacted by Rick Ortmeyer, who is our only current member of the Centennial Committee. The Centennial Committee's job is to be in charge of the two apartment complexes on the either side of Elm Street, the Six Flags and the Eagle Apartments. Rick is kind of discouraged that he can't get anybody else on the board with him. Had questioned whether the village even wants to be in the business of being in charge of this committee. Because one of them has a loan on it from the USDA, is I believe who the loan's through.
Yes.
They have a loan that can't be called out early. It's a 50-year loan. So I think it's probably gonna be beyond the scope of this board. That's, that loan was taken out in 93, I believe. So we're not even halfway through. Well, we're just over, maybe at halfway point, but
94 and 87. 2 loans.
there was 2 loans, but one might be for the other property. The one building is paid off, the other building still has the portion of that 50-year loan. You cannot call that loan out early, and because one of them is a subsidized housing, we cannot just pull the rug out from under that as not being subsidized anymore. So it would have to be transferred to another agency that would be willing to run it as a subsidized housing. To make any decision, we need a board to have a quorum. Rick is not a quorum, so we need to work at appointing some board members to go forward with this. So that's really all we can do at this time, is try and find another 4 people to be on this board, and that way they can have a quorum. So I don't think there's any, I don't think that there's any conflict if you're on any other committees in town. So I know a couple people that I think we could talk to, but
Mr. Kinkle, Housing Authority?
I don't know anything about housing.
Well, you're just gonna make a vote to transfer the ownership. I think you can do that.
so let's put a call out. If anybody's got any names in mind, let's try and have.
I didn't hear a no.
Yeah.
There's one. We got one.
But that's most of the time.
Well, let's try and have a list of 4 people that we can put on this committee. Rick's been on me for a long time about this, and Kate has done an excellent job of digging up information on this, because it's been something that the board hasn't had to deal with, and nobody really knew a lot of these answers, and Kate really did a good job.
Yeah, thank you, Kate.
So,
I guess the whole counts.
and while we're in the administrative portion of it, I'd like everybody to to tell Kate congratulations on her graduation from Northeast Community College this weekend.
Yeah. Good job, Kate.
I don't think we have any, did we cover anything else? Does anybody?
I think I missed the spot, but I have a question on Elm Street maintenance. The ground section that's been redone that seems to have the same issues all the time. The potholes at the bottom, the water running down and creating a ditch in the actual street. I guess my suggestion is a little bit of grading, because of course somebody has blown their leaves out there and the water's coming out around a little bit again. The potholes will never go away without possibly, if you have a contractor in town, putting some blacktop down at the first 3 feet. You always have the turning action and the stopping action that's going to push. I know somebody put some gravel in the holes a couple of years ago, but that won't last.
I know we've talked about some drainage issues coming from that, the south end of the alley there. That's something that we can take up as a street committee and look at some possible answers on that.
The water also comes down First Street and actually runs across the street, which keeps that wet, which makes it that much harder to put anything there. It's sloping quite right for what it needs to be.
Yeah, unfortunately, that project did not, I don't think it went as well as the plans.
As much as was spent, it didn't turn out real.
Yeah.
It was almost a better road before.
Yeah, I look at that some days and wonder if we got our money's worth out of that project, but we'll talk about that as a street committee before our next meeting, and we'll see if we can come up with some ideas. I know we'd talked before about drainage on the alleys, maybe getting permission from property owners to come in there and to dig some drainage on that south end. That might help, and I see what you're talking about too on the west side, getting it.
Well, you've
to
got
drain.
water coming off the second and First Street. And down it, and then the alley comes across it. If you really get a hard rain, you've got a regular river across it.
All right, we'll look into that. There's nothing else. I suppose we'd take it and vote on adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
We have so moved in the second for adjournment. There's no further discussion. Let's vote on that motion.
Maybe.
Aye.
Jason Weasey. Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Scott McCorney.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. Took it easy on you, Kate. Got you out of here before 8.
Don't let Nikki know.